last 3 years has cast a spell over many a young girl's heart and will continue to do so for long, we hope. Mr. Colin Morgan! And come on, keep it going. It's Merlin, Colin Morgan! And last, by no means least, the man who deserves a big, massive cheer. Without him, we would have no Merlin. Please give it up for Mr. Johnny Caps! There we are, ladies and gentlemen. As Johnny takes his seat, welcome, guys. Thank you very much for joining us again.
Thank you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we will be taking your questions very shortly. But before we do, I'd just like to thank you guys for 2 great seasons so far. How is the work for season 3 going for you? I think Johnny will probably best to answer this.
It's frantic. We also have a very tight turnaround. Can you hear me? Frantic. We have quite a tight turnaround for Merlin, as I'm sure you will know. We finished filming in October last year. We were straight into developing the scripts, and we started filming again in March. And the cast here have just been on night shoots, so they're a bit bleary-eyed today.
Right, okay, we're going to start the question drawing, I think. So who has a question? Right, okay. Lady in green. Okay.
How is Merlin and Arthur's relationship going to develop in season 3?
Did you get that?
Definitely.
She's very excited, just in case you wondered. Apparently, you're the voice. That is how is Merlin and Arthur's relationship going to develop as we go into season 3? Calm down, dear.
Well, I think starting again, coming into a new series, the relationship needs to be established again, which is that of the servant-master relationship. But the 3rd series is set a year in the future, so a lot's happened, a lot's changed, and a lot will change and happen. And but both characters have matured quite a lot, and you're seeing Merlin at a stage when he's gone through a huge amount emotionally and physically in series 2, and he's arrived at a point where I think he is a bit of a mature character, and he has a different outlook in life, and he is taking that famous wise advisor role that maybe we know from legend. So yeah, you're definitely seeing their friendship and their duties in life taking a bigger step.
All right, and we've got a question from a young lady down the front.
Hi, Katie, have you still got Hugo?
Yes, absolutely. He's an integral part of the team. He's not going anywhere.
Peachy. The other thing I wanted to ask was, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being a slap and 10 being the loss of 2 or more limbs, exactly where is Morganna's terrible and bloody vengeance on Merlin going to fall?
Oh, God.
Nice.
Well, there's a difference between where I would like it to fall and where it does fall, because I think there is no coming back for somebody who kills their friend. But the Morganna-Merlin relationship is the one for me that's changed the absolute most when it comes to season 3, because obviously, a year has passed, and I think a lot of the innocence of their relationship, well, all of it is gone, because Morganna now knows what Merlin did. So definitely there is a change. On a scale of 1 to 10, I think that's for you guys to say and not for me. So stay tuned, I guess.
Right, and we have a question from a young lady here.
I just wondered, do you find perhaps filming the more intensely emotional scenes harder to film than, say, the romance scenes?
Is that just general for all of us, or is it?
Oh yeah, for cast really, I didn't mind.
For me, the end of episode 12 last year, I actually don't remember filming it that well. It was a good few hours that Colin and I did that, and to be honest, it's kind of a blur. I don't remember much of it, so it was quite intense. And since I don't have any romance scenes, I can't really comment on that, so...
It's evil.
Oh, so evil people don't get romance. Thanks.
Oh. So, is there any other one, Colin? Or?
Yeah, well, I think was good. Whenever you are challenged with some of the more emotional scenes or more intense scenes, it sometimes helps if you're in a more controlled environment. And there was some of them happened whenever I had a sort of a more intense scene that was outside, and it kept raining, and when the elements take over, whenever you're trying to keep a straight head, that can be difficult. But yeah, it's just a case of just trying your best, I suppose.
I think also that actually the most difficult scenes sometimes are for actors are the comic scenes, because in the comic scenes there's so much technical, they need such a kind of technical understanding of what works comically, that actually they can be more demanding sometimes for the actors than the emotional scenes.
Okay, and we have a question from someone here, right at the back here, with my hand.
What's your favourite episode so far?
I like episode 12 of season 2. I think it's really well written, I think it's beautiful looking, and I think it's heart-wrenching, so for me.
I like episode 13 from season 2, but I also like, was it 5 or 6? The Lancelot one.
5.
I really like the Witchfinder episode, purely because of Charles Dance, because he was brilliant.
He's a scary man,
Yeah.
a scary, scary man.
I think my favourite episode was episode 13 last year, just because it was such a hugely ambitious episode for us to do, to achieve all the sequences with the dragon. We didn't think we'd be able to pull it off, but just because the Merlin crew was so amazing, we managed to do it justice. So that was a big thrill for me.
Yeah, we have a question off to the side here from this young lady.
This one's for Colin. What's your favourite spell from the series? And if you could invent a new one, what would it be and how would you pronounce it?
Talk about being put in the spot. Well, I'm obviously going to choose the easiest spell to say at the minute, which is for burning, which is basically I command fire. So I'll not use that one now, just in case, you know. If I could invent a spell, I don't know. I feel like saying something really noble, like, you know, cure world hunger, but that would just be really cheesy, wouldn't it? I don't know. I guess anything that can help people. I suppose anything that can bring a certain amount of happiness in a way. Maybe, I don't know. I'm gonna be really cheesy. The show is our spell. We bring the happiness to you.
Oh.
Hopefully.
The last time we that's me just over the side again. Stand in front. The last time we all met, the series was just about to be aired in America. It's now been airing in America for quite a while. How have you been surprised by the reaction? Because from all accounts, they love it.
I mean, obviously we were thrilled that it did so well in America. We're on series 2 now is on Sci-Fi, and our audience is building constantly all the time. So, I mean, for me as a program maker, you always want your shows to be international, and the fact that we've sold to 180 territories now and we're a big hit in America is a huge thrill for me. Colin, how do you feel about being famous in America?
I don't know. It's hard to sort of think about those things sometimes when you're filming a series, because you're in a stage where you're creating it and people are, I guess, asking about a finished product in a way. And I know we have completed series 1 and 2, but at the minute you're in that filming world, and so when you're asked about something like that, it makes you aware of the effect the show can have. And I don't know, it's too big a question for me to sort of think about at the minute.
Katie and Angel?
Go.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's kind of been successful all over, but it's brilliant that it's a success in America. I think probably a few of us might want to sort of pop over there at some stage and maybe do some work, make some films and stuff. So for us as actors, it's great. Yeah.
I mean, I always say that we never could have imagined where the show would be from when we started. I mean, it was the 6 of us down in an old factory in Cardiff, and now it's in 180 countries or something.
Yeah, it's not done in countries, it's done in territories, but it's 180 territories, which basically means that I think it's only Kurdistan and the small country in Africa, and I think Uzbekistan or one of those countries, and then everywhere else it's sold. So it's done far better than we ever thought, which is amazing.
You can't imagine it. We had a girl visit us from China, which
we're
was
TX
bizarre.
in China at the moment.
Yeah, so it's very cool.
We have a lady here with a question.
This is for Angel. We've heard that we meet some of Gwen's family in the next series. How does her character develop, and does it reconcile her with the Guinevere of the legends?
I think partly, I can't say too much, obviously, but yeah, a member of my family comes along and you kind of learn a little bit more about Gwen's past, and I suppose I think everything Gwen does kind of reconciles her with the Guinevere that she'll become, because she's such a kind of noble person and very forgiving. So I think you maybe see some of that when this member of my family appears.
Okay, we have a question from a young lady staying over this side as well.
Hi, I was just wondering, what helps you guys get into character before you start filming a new episode or the new series?
I don't know. It's like all blank.
Well, sometimes because the producers like to keep it fresh, we get the episodes pretty late. So sometimes it's spontaneity. But I guess for me, accent-wise, kind of each day, just about kind of, I don't know, warming up, walking about, talking like Merlin for the morning. But I mean, each episode brings a new challenge, and whether it's an emotional one, a comic one, or whenever it is, you just do your work on it, because we film completely out of sequence. So you'll be filming a scene from episode 5, followed by one from episode 8, followed by one from. So it's just about knowing the stories really, really well.
Well, the transformation from Katie into Morganna is fairly massive and takes about an hour and a half. So by the time I'm finished that, I pretty much feel like a completely different person. So that, for me, much shorter answer than Colin's.
For me, I suppose I just kind of focus on the script and the sentiment of the scene and stuff. If it's a particularly sort of fast and furious scene, there's quite a lot of jumping up and down and running on the spot that happens, that we all kind of do together.
But before we start each series, we have a week of rehearsals. So just before we started filming in March this week, we had a week of rehearsals. Mainly, they're just an opportunity for the cast to read the scripts, talk to the director, for Julian and I to kind of talk through our plans for the series, so the actors kind of get a sense of where the series is going. And then there's also an awful lot of fight rehearsals. And then what we do for each block, because we film 3 episodes at a time, we always do a read-through before we start filming a block. So we spend an afternoon with the actors in a room and all the guest stars, and we read through the episodes, and then if there are any, if the actors have any problems with the scripts, I tell them to shut up and tell them that it's good, and then we carry on and we work on them, we start filming.
Okay, we have a question from just down the front here for this young lady.
Hi Katie, you look really pretty today. I was just wondering what your favourite costume is in the show.
I've got some new costumes this year, and they are unbelievable. I don't want to say too much, but they're really amazing. Sorry so I'm going to say the ones this year, but I don't want to say what they are because I don't want you to not be surprised. So tune in, and I guarantee you'll know what I'm talking about when you see it. It's a very specific one.
Okay, we have a question.
You know what it is. Look.
We have a question from a friend next to you.
Okay. Hi guys, I was wondering, what advice would you give to anyone who wants to
go into acting as a career?
My advice would be don't do it. It's an unbelievably hard career. You have to deal with a huge amount of rejection, and only a very small percentages of actors actually work. I mean, the cast of Merlin are kind of the exception. They're in work. A lot of actors spend most of their careers out of work. So I think if you want to be an actor, you've got to really, really want to do it and be utterly determined and make sure that that determination is unquestioning. And then good luck, is my advice.
I think you kind of have to understand that the reality of the business is a lot of you do get a lot of rejection, as Johnny says, but a lot of it is about luck and being in the right place at the right time and meeting the right people. And you know, if you do get rejected, it's best not to be too sort of downhearted about it and just to kind of move on to the next audition or whatever, because you know that there's probably nothing you could have done to actually have got the job in the first place. That's up to the people who are casting you and stuff. So just keep at it, really.
So much of it is out of your own control. I think having sort of a very full and very varied life and having a lot to draw on as an actor really helps. So, you know, like I love history and reading and things like that, and that for me all helps build up working on a character and things like that. But so the more strings you have to your bow, I think the better.
I'd say also find out what your inspirations are. Watch films that you like. You know, if you like the actor, did they read any books? Did they read any biographies? What was their life like? How did they go about it? And you know, that never be idle. You know, that you know, if you're going for an audition for something, you know, is there anything that relates to it? You know, just anything you can do that gives you the best possible opportunity. Because if you walk into an audition and know that you did, you know, 100% work on it, then you can't walk away and say it was your fault. You know.
We have a question from a lady at the back.
Hi, this is for Colin. I know last time you were here, somebody asked what was the strangest thing a fan's ever done, and you and Bradley agreed that it was someone gave you some vegetables for some reason. I was wondering if anything's out strange to that since then.
The answer to that is yes. I'm not sure it's you know, it's probably suitable for all ears, so I'll not be specific. But the fan response has been absolutely amazing, and obviously we, you know, sorry for saying this line, but it honestly it is impossible without the support and the fans that watch the show, and genuinely we really appreciative of all the support we get.
Okay, we have a question from a young man here.
This is a question for Colin. Will we see you use your more magic powers exposed? And
you're for sure you're going to see a lot more magic and a different kind of magic in a way. In terms of whether it's exposed at this stage, it's not at the stage we're filming at the minute. I don't know how that's going to progress. But yeah, at the end of series 2, we saw Merlin acquire a different power, the power of the Dragon Lords, and that's something that's going to be interesting to see.
Okay, we're continuing towards the back. We have a lady here.
Hi, I absolutely love your show. I was just wondering what it was that made you want to do about the youth of Merlin and Arthur. I think it's an interesting approach.
Well, the reason why we chose that was Julian and I were very keen to do another high concept show, and we were fascinated by the legend and the mythology of Merlin and King Arthur. And we thought it was, when we were back about 4 or 5 years ago when we were developing it, we were just wondering about what kind of original take we could take on it and how we could reinvent it for a 21st century audience. And one thing that occurred to us is that nobody really explored the young Merlin, and we were always fascinated by stories of empowerment like Spider-Man, Superman, where the sort of somebody discovers that they have these innate abilities, and so to us it seemed a natural progression to play around with the legend and reinvent it, and so that's why we came up with the idea of doing a young Merlin rather than the old guy with the pointy hat and the beard. And so the original idea was just to have young Merlin and his sort of uncle of the time, which was a character called Gaius. And then as we started playing it and playing around with the legend, we then brought in all the other characters. And at the time I was watching Smallville and thought that Smallville was amazing in the way it sort of restarted the legend. And so I'm being upstaged. And so that was kind of, and so we then built around all the other young characters. So I guess, it was always, to us, it was fascinating about telling a story of a young boy who was Merlin and how he was, how he gained strength and found himself with the use of his powers and magic.
Okay, we have a question from a young lady.
Because you're both so cool, who would win in a fight between Morganna and Merlin?
Morganna, definitely. Out of shadow of a doubt. Got no answer there, do ya?
Don't hurt me.
I think she's got a more killer instinct. Although,
I think the either of them could win on different levels, I would say.
you're so diplomatic. I would kick your ass.
Bring it on.
Right, before they kill each other, we've got a question for a young lady here.
This is a question for Colin. I was wondering, in the last episode of last series of second series, you had to learn to speak the dragon. I wonder if learning the language that she made up was difficult or not.
Yes, the spell that they give me for the Dragon Lord spell was literally given to me that morning. Whenever I had to learn it, so I was spending hours just going over it and over it. And it's actually the one in the episode is actually shorter. I shortened it for the episode because it was really long. But it's a different. Yeah, it's the regular spells that I do are Old English, and that one was Old German, I think. So it was a bit different. So, but yeah, the guests who come onto the show think I'm the fount of spell knowledge, but I try to offer what advice I can.
That might be because they ask me and I just direct them immediately to you. Yeah. Sorry about that.
It's all right.
There's actually we were contacted by somebody in America who's actually studying the spells of Merlin and is part of their degree course.
That's pretty cool. Okay, we have a young lady here. What would you like to ask?
I just want to say that I drew some pictures for the cast of Merlin.
Oh, so you want to follow me quickly?
Thank you.
So she has some little pictures she's drawn herself.
Oh, thank
There
you
you
very
go.
much.
Thank you very much.
I'll pass them along. They're really good, thank you. It's very kind.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll give this one to Bradley when we see him, I promise.
Thank you very much.
There you are.
It's awesome.
Talented little artist in the making, I think.
You've made me look better than I do, thank you. Every girl loves that.
Yeah, it's better than
Right, we go back to a question here.
This one's more for Colin. Does Bradley James actually act like off screen what he does on screen? Like, does he treat you like a servant?
Next question. Right, okay.
See, we have an opportunity because Bradley's not here.
Yeah, slag him off. No, he doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't make me open doors for him and serve his food, so it's all good. He hires a team of people for that. No, he doesn't.
Right, we have a question for a young lady here.
Hi, I was just wondering, how much have you changed in personality and stuff as you've been filming all the series?
Colin's a total diva now. He never used to be. No, he's not really. He's not.
Thanks, Angel.
I think I'm probably best to answer that question. When these three actors first joined Merlin, they were very, very humble, sweet human beings, and now I've created these three terrible monsters. No, actually, I'm joking. When you cast a show, you always look for good personalities as well, and people that you think will work well in a team. And I always thought that all of the actors, the young cast, had a real potential to work well in a team, and they've proved that. Not only proved that they're really good actors, but proved that they're good team players.
Right, we have a question from a young lady here.
In the very first scenes of Merlin, how comfortable were all of you working with each other?
I was just petrified in general.
Yeah, I was
absolutely knees knocking, shaking, petrified.
Yeah,
They're scary people.
Everyone's very friendly and welcoming and nice, but I think the first day on any job is always completely terrifying, and you always just think, that you can't actually act, and that it was a complete fluke that you got the job in the first place, and that you're just a fraud.
Absolutely, and they'll look at the rushes and then they'll realise they made a huge mistake, and you'll get a phone call the next day and it's like, sorry, we've decided to go another way. But thankfully, thank you.
I can't hear what you're saying.
I can't hear what you're saying either.
Am I meant to be saying?
Question from this young lady here.
Hi. Hello. I have a question for Johnny. One is your audience has changed a lot, I think, and it's quite broad in age bracket. So I'm wondering whether that kind of filtered into the material that you're doing in season 3, whether you had to rethink from like a producer's and director's point of view how to, the choices you made. And the other question is for all the others, is one that is really nice to have you as role models and ambassadors for people of our kind of age bracket and performing arts, because I'm a performer. And it's, have you ever thought of actually being a role model to people who look up to you and say, what if I ever get the opportunity to have what you have now, how you inspire people? When you thought, I want to become an actor, I really want to go and do performing arts, how did it change you, and if you thought of it before? Thank you.
Right, I'm going to try and remember what the first question was now. When we were initially developing Merlin, the idea was that it should appeal to a broad audience. So it was always about creating action adventure shows. So the idea always was to appeal to a broad audience. And so we were very much aware when we were storylining it that we wanted to appeal to a young audience but also an adult audience. So whenever we structured a story and in the dialogue, we wanted it to work on sort of 2 levels, to be entertaining for children but at the same time be challenging and fun for adults. So that's always tonally been something that we've always wanted to do. The thing that happened in Series 2 was that we, as the characters developed and started having more teenage issues, we had a bigger kind of teenage audience that used to tune into the show, which was great for us. And I think that naturally, as the show's progressed, the relationships between our 4 young characters are developing and becoming more complicated, and so therefore we're able to tell slightly more teenage stories. So I think if there's any small adjustment we've made is just in that as the characters have developed, we've made the issues be a little bit more about them being teenagers and realising that they have more responsibilities in their life. But at the end of the day, it was always about making sure that the audience, the show had a broad audience appeal and had all the fun and ups and downs and emotional highs and lows of a really good action adventure movie.
For the role model thing, I think it's hard as an actor to think about that, because I think you get into it because you've got a passion for acting, and then as sometimes as a result of what can happen, people get inspired by what you've done or where you've got to, and it's I think in anything, any job that anyone has, if you can cause inspiration or spark something in someone or do something, even if it's just one person, I mean, that's pretty special. And so if anyone's been inspired by the show, then that's brilliant.
And I think also that actors in this situation are very lucky, and I know that Colin and Bradley support a Night Less Ordinary, which is a great. Well, Colin, you can tell us about that.
Yeah, Night Less Ordinary. It's a scheme which basically anyone under the age of 25 can go and literally see free theatre right across the UK. So anyone who hasn't really thought about going to the theatre before, or I don't know, maybe you've got a certain opinion about theatre. Go, it's free. You can log on to the website and check out what theatres are participating in it, and go check out some free shows. And also they're running a competition pretty soon, which if you write a review of one of the shows that you've seen, you get a chance to come and film on set for a day in Merlin in France. So check it out.
Okay, we have a question from a lady at the front.
Hello. I came all the way from Norway to be here tonight, and I just love the show, and I'm so happy it's airing in Norway. And I was wondering if I could give you guys a hug.
Oh.
It's okay by me.
We'll see you later. Right, okay. We'll
Thank
move
you for
on to
coming.
another question. Got a lady in red at the front.
Thanks. Hi. Basically, we just want to ask, like, out of all the cast, who have you enjoyed working with? That's kind of for everyone.
Probably my favourite was John Lynch, who played my father.
Mine is always Asa, but he has been slightly moved in my love for Emilia Fox because I get to do quite a lot with her. So between the two of them, quite lucky.
Who do I enjoyed working with? I like working with all these guys probably the most, to be honest. So I know them so well now. It's always a good laugh.
I liked working with Sarah Parrish, who played the troll last year. I'd worked with her before as an actress, so it was great to be working with her again, and I just had lots of very surreal days of her in her troll prosthetic, sitting in the French cafeteria eating lunch with a troll and talking about when we used to work with each other, and it was always kind of one of those surreal experiences on Merlin that you have frequently, but to have lunch with a troll and to talk about previous experiences was very, very funny for me.
Okay, I have a question from a young girl at the back.
Is season 3 going to be the last season, or will there be a season 4?
Well, hopefully there will be more than 3 seasons of Merlin. The plan was always, in mine and Julian's minds, to run to at least 5 series, and that's the plan. But it's all about how many. So keep watching it and make sure all your friends watch it, and then we'll last for 5 seasons.
Okay, we have another question from the back here.
Hello. Hello. If you could switch characters with one of your fellow actors for the day, which would it be?
I'd want to be Arthur so I could swing a sword around.
I'd want to be Uther so I could rule.
I'd be Gaius so I could get all the ladies. Secret little ladies man in Camelot.
It's true.
Well, if I could be one of the guys, I'd obviously be Merlin so I could magic myself out of all the production nightmares.
Yeah, we have a question still at the back from this.
Hi, I'm Jasmine, and I have a question for Angel. I'd like to say first that I really like your hair. But, who do you think that Gwen prefers out of Lancelot and Arthur?
I genuinely think that she kind of has a huge affection for both of them, and it's a real struggle for her because she's such a kind of kind-hearted person. She'd never want to hurt either of them, and I think she's never kind of considered before that men would have been interested in her, and all of a sudden she's got these two like hunks who like her a lot, and I think she kind of sees different things in each of them. I think probably the more realistic coupling would be, in her mind, would be Lancelot and herself because of the whole status issue, but I think she genuinely kind of loves them both. But obviously she doesn't see Lancelot that much, so she kind of has to, rely on Arthur.
Nice. Right, we've got some young ladies here with a couple of questions for you, rather aptly dressed.
Cool.
This is a question for Angel and Katie. Out of all the costumes you wear, which ones would you like to keep?
I want to keep Katie's, but I'm not allowed.
I want to keep all of mine.
Yeah.
But I always say, and I've said it before, that the day I get married is going to be a sad day because I'm never going to do any better than the dresses I get to wear on a daily basis in the show. So.
Okay, well, I know you've all done stage performance and TV performance, and I wanted to know the differences and which you prefer.
I think they're kind of very different animals. Just in terms of, for example, on stage you get a lot more rehearsal time. You get kind of a longer period of time to build a character. I suppose it's kind of it's similar with Merlin in that we've had a long period of time to kind of build up our characters and stuff. But you obviously don't get the live buzz when you're doing television. It's all kind of quite kind of quick and much more technical often than doing theatre.
I've never done theatre, so can't tell you. Sorry.
I don't find that the actual acting part of it's too much different. Your preparations and emotionally and how you prepare, I don't find that different. It's the technical things that are different. And as Angel was saying, you're more aware that there's a camera there but yeah, other than that, there's not a huge difference acting wise.
Okay, we have a question over here. We've got a young lady.
Hello. If you weren't actors, what would you like to be?
I've literally only ever wanted to do acting, and I suppose when you go through school and you're told that's not realistic or that's not possible, you're sort of forced to think up of other things. And I used to always say journalism and or arts correspondence or something like that, something related to the arts in a way. But acting was always what I wanted to do.
I think I'd like to have been a mixture of Simon Shammer, Antonia Fraser, and Howard Zinn, and sit in a room all day with books and write about dead people. Yeah.
I think I'd definitely have to do something creative, because I'm definitely more creatively minded than academically. I'm maybe a musician, maybe write music or something.
Okay. And we have a question from a young lady here.
Hi, it's a question for Katie. I know you've worked as a costume before you turned into acting. How did you find the transition between those two different careers?
Massively surreal. I went from one day holding an umbrella over an actress's head to the next day literally standing there with somebody doing the same to me. And half the time I still think I'm back there. I remember one of my first weeks on Merlin, one of the ADs ripped her coat and I pulled it off her and I sat there in full costume sewing it up for her. She couldn't do it. But I think I'm having more fun doing this. Surprise, surprise.
Okay, we have a question from a young gentleman here.
Hi, I was just wondering if the Doctor and Merlin have sort of the same sort of ideas. Who would win between the Doctor and Merlin?
Merlin.
No contest there. None.
I don't know, who do you think?
Who would win, the Doctor or Merlin?
Yeah, like in the Merlin camp.
There you go. I have a question for a young lady here.
Hi. I know you all create a huge effect on your whole fan populace. How do you feel about people writing fan fiction and fan art and creating dresses on your characters?
I think it's really cool that people are inspired to sort of get creative and do stuff like that, and it's just really flattering that people sort of take the time to do stuff like that. I'm always interested in like the kind of the videos that people make on YouTube and stuff that they kind of edited together. It's really clever.
What's clever is they pick out things that you never knew were there and you didn't see, and they see it from a completely different angle. So, plus we get pictures.
Speaking of that, apparently there's a young man who couldn't make it today, and I believe he made a video, is it? It's inspired by Bradley and Colin. I've got one copy each for you. Aww. It's You're the Voice by Ryan and Zane.
Oh, I don't know that one.
There, you give that to Bradley.
Oh, awesome.
And
Yeah, I'll pass it on.
Speaking of things that are made, I believe, Johnny, you've got something in the box to show us.
Oh yeah, I've got a little bit of a Merlin exclusive here. Available in all good stores, I think, in around August, is a little Merlin.
Hello.
And as Bradley couldn't make it today, he sent his doppelganger here. And this is all very surreal for us because I've been looking at photographs of these for a long time. It's the first time I've actually seen them. Here is Gaius. And we also have a dragon. And we'll also be having, obviously, dolls of Morganna and Gwen and Uther. But these are the prototypes. These are the only ones that have been made. And I've got 25 security people backstage who will have to take them back in a Securicor van. So there you go. That's a world exclusive for you.
They are awesome. They will. They look good. And what does it feel like now, Colin, just staring at your action figure?
I feel like the Great Dragon, just looking down on me.
And we're not allowed to call them dolls. The guys get very upset. We were all talking about how we were getting dolls. They're not dolls, they're action figures. Apparently that's more manly.
It could be an easy way to settle that fight that someone mentioned earlier, just having two action figures duke it out for you.
Morganna would still win.
Right, I got a question from a lady here at the front.
Hiya. I'd like to know, with the amount of time you spend recording the programmes and whatever, what do you like to do for relaxation and for fun?
I think when you do spend so much time on the show, and it is, it's 8 months, it's a long job. I think any chance you can get away to do normal things, but you never want to go on a holiday or go do something crazy. You always want to, go back home and see your friends and family, and do normal things. That's what I find.
I love doing laundry. It's amazing.
I like cooking and making stuff, making clothes, listening to music, going to festivals, stuff like that, going to the cinema. No. Bit of everything,
I have a question in the back here.
Hi, this is for all the cast. Have you ever been recognised in the street, and if so, what happened?
I don't get recognised that much. I did have a really classic moment though, where I came out to meet Colin and we were standing outside a tube station, and somebody comes up to Colin and goes, oh my god, can I have your picture? And Colin goes, yeah, great, here, get both of us in. She had no idea who I was. None. And I'm standing there hoping that when she gets the pictures developed, she looks at it and goes, but literally she was like, get out of my picture. Get away from Colin. It was classic.
My most kind of notable story was when I was, it was quite late night and we were in a kebab shop. And someone turned to me and said, oh, my lady, and bowed very low. Well, that was quite cool.
Brilliant.
Yeah. I had an argument with somebody about how I wasn't Keira Knightley once. Full-blown argument. I was like, I think I know who I am. They're like, no, you're lying. I'm like, seriously, does Keira Knightley get the tube? Honestly, come on.
Right, got a question from a lady here again.
I was wondering, the whole cast, what do you guys tend to think of the people that keep pairing Arthur and Merlin up in sexual situations?
And moving on. Yeah. Right, this lady here.
Have there been any practical jokes on the set, and if who's the main bedroom?
Have there.
Practical jokes.
We did a practical joke on Bradley actually one day, which was we were shooting a children in need sketch, and what was meant to happen is that Colin was meant to walk in the door and get loads of tomatoes thrown at him, but when we turned the camera, Bradley was standing next to him. We threw all the tomatoes at Bradley, and I'll have to find that footage actually and put it on the web.
Right, we have a.
Well, you got an American president here.
Right, I have a question for this lady here.
Hi. When you were interacting with the dragon, Colin, did you have someone on the side saying his lines, or did you have to memorize his lines to actually get your lines perfect?
The way they do it is John Hurt records his side of it in a studio in London, and last year I was able to record it with him as well. Me and him both did it, and but he'll record that, and I get that played back whenever I'm doing that. So I'll be standing on a little ledge, kind of no bigger than this table really. That is the cave, and look at a mark on a green screen and imagine what the dragon would look like, and luckily I get his voice played back, so I don't have to learn both.
And we have a question from a lady just at the front still.
Hi, I'm from the States, so I was wondering, we all ever gonna visit the States? Because, yeah, I don't get to meet y'all today for no autographs, so maybe then.
Hope so.
Yeah, me too, Johnny.
We'd love to.
Obviously, the cast are constantly asking me when they're going to go over to America, but as our filming schedule is pretty tight, so from sort of March to October, it's very difficult for them to get out to the States. But we're hoping to go over to San Diego this year. schedule dependent. That's just me, by the way. I'm not asking the actors.
Thanks.
Okay, we've got time for a couple more questions, so I'm just going to start with this lady here, who's patiently had her hand up.
Hi, if you could pick anyone, any guest star to star on the show, who would it be?
I want Brendan Gleeson to play my dad. See?
I want either Bill Bailey or Bill Murray, or both at the same time. That'd be brilliant. Yeah.
She stole my Bill Bailey.
Sam Rockwell.
Sam Rockwell.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, he's with
Genius.
Sam Rockwell.
That dance in Iron Man 2
Yeah,
made the
brilliant.
whole movie for me.
Okay, we've got time for one final question from this very excited young lady here.
Hi, I have a question for Colin. What's the geekiest thing you've ever done or have?
Geekiest thing. It's probably going to be this, actually, whenever I just steal it on the way out. That's pretty geeky, stealing your own action figure. I don't know, I guess if you've done something geeky, it's probably geeky in other people's eyes. I never intentionally try to do it, so maybe these people could tell you. They're not going to slag me off in public.
It's too cool. He doesn't look geeky.
Very cool guy, exactly. No.
Thanks.
Well, ladies and gentlemen-
This is a public announcement. The actress Jessica Nicole from the hit show Fringe is now signing in the autograph area.
Oh, wow, you know. Wow.
On that note, we better go.
Well, there we go. Well, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in giving a massive round of applause for some incredibly talented people. Angel Coulby, Katie McGrath, Colin Morgan, Mini Merlin, Mini Geekiest, Mini Arthur, Mini Dragon, and of course, Mr. Johnny Caps! Thank you very much, guys. Keep your applause going as I leave the stage.
In a land of myth and a time of magic,